this is Dr. Do again. This video is Outside of Medicine, continue with the historical figures and dynasties. Actually, last time we talked about transition period. So the transition period is basically southeast, which is Wu, and the country name is Wu, and the emperor in that southeast was the Sun's family, and the southwest is Bei. It's Shu. The country name is Shu, but the emperor's name was Liu, Bei Liu. And the middle was emperor is still Han Dynasty, the last emperor, and the power held in Cao's hand. So toward the end of this transition period, the first generation of this Cao or Liu Bei or the Sun Quan, they all passed away, and along with them, with those important commanders or advisors, eventually the transition period ended up with only the middle. And Cao's descendant, his son, started to call himself emperor. So the Han Dynasty completely vanished. So no emperor from Liu's family, Han Dynasty. So this the son of Cao established a country called Wei. That's very short. And then the power transferred from Wei to Sima. Remember the military leader of Cao's country, nation, the middle, because he held the power, he's political capable, and eventually the power transitioned to his family. So the Sima family eventually established the new dynasty called the Jin dynasty. There's the east and the west divided later on, but Jin dynasty actually is quite short. There are not a lot of important because it's quite peaceful. So start to have the culture develop. For example, there's a very important calligrapher, Xi Wang is from Jin dynasty. He was from rich family. He was not the oldest, I think the youngest, and he was very casual, married very well. So his handwriting was very famous. Even nowadays, he could do different styles, and his handwriting worth a lot, worth more than gold, I think, just because he had the talent to write those calligraph and the character. And there's another important part about this Jin dynasty. Since it's no wall, so it's developed the art and the literal. There's a important Yuan Ming Tao start important essays passing down. It's very beautiful. So so this in terms of Jin dynasty, because it's kind of after the transition period, is after the wartime, start to have peace transition. So not a lot of stories, only the Xi Wang, the calligrapher, and also some essays from the important literal start to grow. After this Jin dynasty, it's broken again. Broken to the south and north dynasty. And there are a lot of small nations during this South Dynasty or North Dynasty, and not a lot. There are a lot of plays or stories about this, but officially it's not long either. Not a lot of significant event. So so we start from the Xia, Shang, Zhou, and then 5. Dynasty, 7 nation dynasty, and then Qin, the first united, and then Han after Qin, Han and transition, and then Jin, east and west Jin, and then south and north. And then after this is a dynasty called the Sui. The Sui dynasty was also very short. It was established by the Yang's family. This Yang is very strange. That at that time, I think his family was serving the previous dynasty, and then he became raised up in a temple. So he's religiously very dedicated. And he had a very capable wife, so he established dynasty called Sui. It's very short because it's the situation that majority of their border was not peaceful, and there are a lot of constructions. The Great Canal was built in that dynasty. Since the constructions really consume a lot of forces, a lot of labors, a lot of financial, a lot of money. So the people's life is kind of very harsh. So a lot of rebellions. And then since this rebellion, so the Sui dynasty really short-lasting, and I think he just moved the Sui dynasty. Even though it's short, but the capital, the emperor has to be moved from one city to another city because the flee from the rebellion, and eventually died or killed by the force. So and after this Sui is the Tang dynasty. Tang dynasty established by Li's family. Yuan Li is the first founding emperor. And this Li family, this Tang dynasty really, actually, if you want look back the history of the nation, start Han is the first, is the dynasty start to have the prosperity, long lasting, relatively long. And then there's some changing, short, just one emperor took the power and then came up with the other one. So keep fighting again until Tang dynasty by Li's family. So the first is Liu's family. Now it's Li's family established this Tang dynasty. It's relatively long, lasts a little longer. And there's some time very prosperity. The surrounding nations all came to Tang dynasty to show respect. So it's very a strong nation and dynasty. There's important emperors in Tang dynasty. The first one is Yuan, and his power transitioned to his son through the rebellion, through the fight of he had 4 sons. Eventually, one took over. Because there is the issue of the older, the firstborn or the secondborn, and then the third and the fourth. So this the rules, the firstborn should take the throne, but the secondborn was has done so much when the country established, to took the power to establish the country. So eventually there is some very sad story, but eventually after Yuan is Shimin Li, very capable, very smart, very famous, this emperor. And during his time, the Tang dynasty started to really become strong. And during his time, he started to send the monk to the west to get some religious decree come back, and that's the story for the journey to the west. I think on my another video of the folk songs, I presented a song from that movie called Journey to the West, written in Ming Dynasty. I think later on there's author wrote the story of this monk sent by Shimin Li to the west to get the Buddhism back to start this religion in the country. After this Shimin, there's several other emperors just keep doing the hard work, and the country start to grow, prosperity, getting richer and richer, until there's another one, Longji Li, I think so. And there's another female empress. Wu Zetian Wu, I'm going to talk about next time. So I'm going to stop here. Next time I'm going to focus on Tang dynasty and important emperors or important historical figures, and then how the Tang dynasty from the prosperity peak time going down to become broken into 5 dynasty and 10 nations, another period of broken time. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.